I'm working at Stuttgart's immigration office when an American shows up claiming our government appointment system is a psychological warfare test developed during the Cold War. She'd booked an appointment for 10:47 a.m., not 10:45, not 10:50, and was genuinely convinced this level of precision was designed to break people's spirits. No functioning democracy needs the 17-minute windows, she insisted. She'd brought a printed article about Soviet-era intimidation tactics and kept pointing to it like it was evidence. When I explained that Germans simply value punctuality and efficient scheduling, she pulled out her phone and started Googling, "Germany still communist?" The appointment was for a standard residence permit. She arrived at 10:52 and couldn't understand why we asked her to rebook. Last month, an American in Munich tried to report a waitress to the police for emotional abuse because she didn't smile when bringing his coffee. He'd filed an actual report, claiming the waitress's neutral expression had ruined his vacation energy, and demanded she be fired for creating a hostile service environment. When the officer explained that German service workers aren't required to perform happiness, he accused the entire country of violating basic human warmth protocols established by the Geneva Convention. He'd somehow connected restaurant service standards to international war crime tribunals. Then there's the guy in Hamburg who genuinely believed German directness was an elaborate national prank show. After 3 separate locals gave him straightforward criticism about blocking the bike lane, standing on the wrong side of the escalator, and speaking loudly in the quiet train car, he became convinced he was being filmed. Spent an hour looking for hidden cameras. Posted on Facebook asking if anyone knew which network was producing Germany's meanest pranks. Welcome to my world of Americans discovering that not everyone communicates like a customer service representative who's been threatened with termination for insufficient cheerfulness. My friend Petra runs a bike rental shop in Berlin and had an American couple return bikes claiming they were emotionally damaged by German rental culture. They'd asked if the bikes were good quality, and Petra said they're adequate for city cycling. The couple interpreted adequate as a passive-aggressive insult and demanded to know what they'd done to deserve such hostility. They wanted a formal apology, a discount, and Petra to attend sensitivity training. When she explained she was simply answering their question accurately, the husband said, "In America, we build people up, we don't tear them down with words like adequate." He'd created an entire narrative where Petra had a personal vendetta against them. They left a 1-star review claiming the bikes were verbally abusive and that Petra had weaponized German efficiency against innocent tourists. The bikes worked perfectly fine. They just couldn't handle hearing a neutral assessment. I'm at Berlin's main train station when an American starts crying at the information desk because the attendant told him his question was not complicated. He'd asked how to get to his hotel, and she'd given him clear directions. Take the S-Bahn, transfer once, walk 3 minutes. When she said it's simple, he broke down, claiming she was calling him stupid and that Germans were the coldest people on earth. He demanded she apologize for implying he was unintelligent. She looked genuinely confused and said, "I meant the journey is straightforward, not difficult." This made him cry harder. He sat in the station for 20 minutes, writing an email to the German Tourism Board about systematic emotional cruelty in public services. Other travelers kept asking if he was okay. He'd tell each one, "The Germans broke me." My colleague Matthias works at a Frankfurt hardware store and had an American try to return a drill because the sales associate didn't believe in him. The American had asked if the drill was good for his project, and Matthias said, "It will work, but there are limitations." The customer interpreted this as Matthias saying he was incapable of basic home improvement and had decided the drill itself was now contaminated with negative energy. He wanted a different drill from a different employee who would support his journey. When Matthias explained he was just providing accurate product information, the American said, "This is why Germany lost the war. You people don't understand motivation." Matthias, who was extremely patient, responded, "We lost 2 wars actually. The drill still works the same regardless." The American left and bought a worse drill at a more expensive store where someone told him he'd make a great craftsman. I'm working customs at Frankfurt Airport when an American woman files a complaint because the immigration officer didn't compliment her passport photo. She'd made some joke about how bad the photo was, and the officer had simply stamped her passport and said, "Welcome to Germany." She interpreted this as agreement that her photo was terrible and felt personally attacked. She wanted the officer reprimanded for participating in appearance-based harassment and demanded Germany implement positive reinforcement protocols at borders. When I explained that the officer was just doing his job efficiently, she said, "In America, even TSA agents find something nice to say." That's what separates civilization from chaos. She'd convinced herself that German border control was deliberately targeting her self-esteem. Spent 15 minutes describing how American customs officers always tell her to have a blessed day, and how that phrase alone makes her feel seen and valued as a human being. The German officer had literally just welcomed her to the country. She wanted it done with more enthusiasm and at least 2 compliments. My friend Klaus is a doctor in Munich and had an American patient demand a new physician because Klaus didn't start the appointment by asking how his day was going. The patient had come in for a minor skin issue, and Klaus immediately examined it and prescribed treatment. Appointment took 8 minutes, problem solved. The American was furious, claiming Klaus had dehumanized him by treating him like a medical problem instead of a person. He wrote a lengthy complaint to the hospital about German doctors' robotic bedside manner and demanded they implement American-style compassionate care training. When Klaus explained that he'd simply focused on efficiently resolving the medical issue, the American said, "That's the problem. You see me as an issue instead of a fellow human on this journey we call life." He wanted Klaus to start over, beginning with at least 5 minutes of small talk about his travel experiences, feelings about Germany, and general life satisfaction before addressing the rash. Klaus told him the rash was already treated. The American left unsatisfied, claiming his emotional rash from the encounter was worse than the physical one. At Dresden supermarket, an American tried to get a cashier fired for not asking, "Did you find everything okay today?" She checked him out in complete silence, scanned items, told him the total, processed payment, handed him the receipt. Standard German efficiency. The American went to the manager, claiming the cashier was openly hostile and clearly hated Americans. When the manager explained that German cashiers simply process transactions without mandatory social scripts, the American pulled out his phone and showed them videos of American grocery checkout interactions. "See? She asks about his day. She comments on his purchases. She wishes him a good evening. That's how humans treat each other." He demanded the cashier watch his compilation of proper checkout experiences and then retry his transaction with feeling. The manager asked him to leave. He posted on TripAdvisor that German supermarkets were dystopian efficiency nightmares where joy goes to die. "I teach German language classes in Heidelberg and had an American student quit after 1 lesson because I corrected his pronunciation. He'd been saying ich bin wrong, and I demonstrated the correct way. He stood up, said, 'I don't need this negativity in my life,' and walked out." Later sent an email explaining that his American ESL teacher always told him he was doing amazing and making incredible progress even when he made mistakes, because that's proper educational technique. He accused me of toxic teaching methods and said I was crushing his language learning spirit with unnecessary criticism. He wanted me to only tell him what he was doing right and let the mistakes naturally correct themselves through positive vibes. When I explained that correcting errors is how people learn languages, he responded with a 2,000-word email about growth mindset, psychological safety, and how Germans wouldn't understand modern pedagogy. He's now in an online class where the teacher is required to say "good try" after every mistake. His pronunciation hasn't improved in 6 months. My friend Anna works at a Munich gym and had an American cancel his membership because she told him his deadlift form was incorrect. She'd politely shown him the proper technique to prevent injury. He interpreted this as her calling him weak and incompetent. He sent an email to the gym's corporate office claiming Anna had body-shamed him and created an unsafe fitness environment where people are attacked for their natural lifting style. When the manager reviewed the gym footage and saw that Anna had simply provided standard form correction, the American doubled down, saying the video doesn't show the microaggressions in her tone. He demanded Anna be fired and the gym implement a judgment-free zone policy. Anna, who's a certified trainer with a degree in sports science, was baffled. The American joined a different gym and hurt his back within 3 weeks because nobody there corrected his form either. At a Stuttgart design agency, an American intern quit after his first week because his supervisor told him a logo concept needed work. Not that it was terrible, literally, just this needs some adjustments. The intern sent an exit email claiming the company had a toxic culture of criticism and that he'd never experienced such brutal feedback in his life. He detailed how his American professors always started critiques with 5 positive observations before mentioning anything negative, and how his previous internship supervisor had told him everything he did was really interesting and unique. He accused the German creative director of stifling innovation through negativity and said the company would never survive in the global marketplace with these outdated management tactics. The logo genuinely did need work, wrong color scheme, illegible font, ignored the client brief. But pointing that out was apparently equivalent to personally attacking his soul. He's now working at a company where managers are required to sandwich every criticism between compliments. His designs still need work. I'm at a Berlin bureaucracy office when an American tries to report his landlord for emotional neglect because she only texts him about apartment issues and never asks how he's doing. He'd come to the housing authority with printed text exchanges showing his landlord's messages. Rent is due Friday. Plumber coming Tuesday. Please don't put cardboard in plastic recycling. He claimed this cold transactional communication violated tenant rights and constituted harassment. When the official explained that landlords in Germany typically only communicate about practical matters, the American said, "So you're telling me emotional abandonment is legal here?" He wanted laws passed requiring landlords to check on tenants' well-being at least twice monthly. He'd calculated that his landlord's average message length was 8.3 words and presented this as evidence of systematic communication abuse. The official told him his apartment situation was completely normal. He moved out and left a review saying the landlord treated him like a rent-paying machine instead of a human being worthy of connection. My friend Stefan runs a bookstore in Cologne and had an American customer demand her money back because Stefan didn't engage with her about why she was buying the book. She'd asked for a travel guide, he'd retrieved it, she paid, and he'd said, "Enjoy your trip." She wanted a full refund because Stefan didn't care about her journey and had robotically processed a transaction instead of making a human connection. She'd expected him to ask where she was traveling, why, what she was excited about, what her travel philosophy was, and to share his own travel experiences. When Stefan explained he had other customers waiting, she said, "That's the problem with Germany. You prioritize efficiency over humanity." She demanded he start over and check her out again the right way with appropriate emotional investment. Stefan declined. She stayed in the store for an hour telling other customers about the death of human connection in German retail. The travel guide was perfectly fine. She just wanted her book purchase to be a therapeutic experience. At a Leipzig coffee shop, an American man tried to get a barista fired for not remembering his usual order after he'd been there twice. He'd ordered the same drink 2 days in a row, and on the 3rd day, expected her to know automatically. When she asked what he wanted, he said, "Seriously, you don't remember me?" She apologized and said she serves hundreds of customers daily. He claimed this proved Germans don't value relationships and that the coffee shop had no soul. He wrote to the owner demanding the barista undergo customer relationship training and that the shop implement a system to track regular customers' preferences. When the owner explained that would be a massive database for minimal benefit, the American said, "This is why German businesses will never match American hospitality." He posted online that the coffee shop treats people like transaction numbers and that his neighborhood Starbucks knows him by name. The barista legitimately didn't remember him. She'd served 847 customers in 3 days. I'm still here at the immigration office, watching Americans discover that professional efficiency isn't personal coldness, and that sometimes adequate is actually a compliment. The woman who thought our appointment system was communist propaganda? She eventually got her residence permit, but not before asking if she could request a warmer immigration officer for future renewals. I told her we assign officers randomly based on appointment availability. She nodded slowly and said, "Classic German deflection technique." Maybe one day they'll understand that directness isn't rudeness. It's just a different way of showing respect. Or maybe they'll keep expecting every interaction to feel like a performance review, where everyone gets an A for participation. Either way, I'll be here being efficiently helpful while they write essays about their feelings. Next time, why Americans think European healthcare is suspiciously affordable and must be hiding something sinister.